advised.
Spoiler alert episode. Spoiler.
Please be advised. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Hello, everybody. Guess what? More spoiler apps.
Yep. You guys have been enjoying them, and so have we. So we've been doing more.
I like it. Spoiler app 27.
27. This is going to be Still Alice.
Yes. So.
Because many of you still haven't seen it.
So you still should get off your ass and go see this movie.
Now, remember, this is a spoiler up, so we will be going through the movie inside and out, including the ending. So if you haven't seen the film yet, you may want to hit pause.
Yes.
And then come back.
Come back.
Or if you have no intention of seeing the film. We get a lot of those emails. Yeah. I'm never going to see that movie. I just listen to the spoiler app.
All right. So your first just overall thoughts on it.
My first overall thoughts, it was that Kristen Stewart was not as horrible as I thought she would be. But no, my overall thoughts of this movie is you can see immediately as you're watching this film why Juliane Moore was nominated and why there were no other nominations for this film. And one of the reasons is it's in that weird kind of class of movies where you have a great performance surrounded by everything else that never really rose above competent. And one of the issues you have with this film is, and it's a built-in issue, and granted this movie is also based on a book, is that everyone knows the premise of this movie. You know, Juliane Moore is suffering from Alzheimer's at an early age, and she gradually deteriorates. So when that basically inciting incident happens in the film, there's nowhere for the film to go except slowly watch this poor woman degrade. And there's no, like, it's not like she's going to get cured at the last minute. There's not going to be a bunch of plot twists. So ultimately what you have is how the family deals with it. So, and I really didn't feel like that rose to the occasion of the film, like to see the way the family would deal with it, the way they interacted with her. I mean, she brought her A game. I think everyone else kind of brought their A game, but that not completely. Like it was everything I thought was competent, except she rose above the film. It was like when that other movie came out. I think it was The Solitary Man, where the performance was so good, but the rest of the movie was ridiculous. What this was didn't get to that level. But this, like, I thought she did a great job, but the rest of the movie was competent and not really. Didn't raise to the occasion.
I think I agree. Like, she's amazing, and I was like, wow, she's deserved every nomination and award that she's gotten thus far, and she deserves her Oscar nomination. She does an amazing job in terms of how to deal with this, and she's this highly educated, very smart, career-driven woman. And
there's scenes where you're watching her, and they're just heartbreaking. They're absolutely, devastating.
They're devastating, and
also a little disturbing because, there was a scene where, the doctor is asking, I'm going to tell you an address and can you remember it? And you know what? I couldn't remember it. A couple seconds later.
I know. Everyone's like, oh, God, I forgot this thing. Do I have Alzheimer's?
Oh, my God. Yeah, I can't remember that address. I got to rewind.
Yeah. So the thing, to me, I agree. I think the shortcomings were written, were script problems a little bit, in the sense that, like, my biggest complaint was Alec Baldwin's character.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because, are you really fucking kidding me? Your wife is, she's going through Alzheimer's, and I get that he's, like, kind of in denial about it. But is he the dumbest guy in the world? His wife already has Alzheimer's. He's watching it decline, and she's going through the things, and he's like, "It's the middle of the night. What are you doing? Like, come on."
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be like, "Okay, this is another part of the thing. I got to be there for my wife." I
was at the doctor's office when he told me she had it.
So I'm not going to wig out when she's
What's wrong with you?
Yeah. And he's this very focused.
Maybe he had Alzheimer's too. He forgot.
Yeah, he forgot that his wife had.
Yeah.
Well, see, Chris, that makes perfect sense. And then at the end of the movie where he gets the job to go to the Mayo Clinic and he's going to basically leave his wife to go to the Mayo Clinic. So unless...
With the troubled daughter.
Come on. So unless this novel is based on real people and an actual guy did this, and if that's the case, then I redact everything I'm about to say.
Yeah.
If that didn't happen and it just was like a two-dimensional, you know what I mean? It's like the selfish husband is just this two-dimensional character.
It felt contrived.
It felt very contrived because it's like, what would be far more compelling to me is this guy. They're this power couple, right? They both have these high-end university jobs. They're both big research people.
Also, they're not like spring chickens either. It's like, I'm like, aren't you getting closer to retirement anyway?
Right. Wouldn't he just be, wouldn't a more compelling plot device, Chris, be, okay, I got to turn down this job. We got to sell this house. We got to figure out how I'm going to make this work. I'm going to take time off of work. When she's like, why don't you take a sabbatical? He's like, I can't do that. We can't afford it. It's just like, these are regular couple conversations, not my wife has fucking Alzheimer's conversations. That's where I was like, shouldn't it be seeing?
And we clearly have a fair amount of money at this point.
Yeah. These are wealthy New York people.
Yeah.
With the fucking house in the Hamptons.
Right.
And like, okay, so how do they deal with
Paying
this?
for her daughter's theater company.
And they paid for both their children's graduate degrees in law and medical school.
Right. And I'm sure very expensive schools.
Yeah. Okay, so but wouldn't that be an interesting conversation of how they're going to make this work? And this husband going, well, I want to spend the next 9 months
away.
I'm going to, he's not going to do that. Wouldn't he say, because they established that he's a loving husband, that they have this very supportive marriage. And she even says it, like, oh, I have this great husband, this great marriage, and I'm going to forget it. Wouldn't that be more a compelling story to see how they figure this out? And what the fuck would you do?
Right.
I mean, you're married with 2 kids. Like, what would you possibly, okay, let's see that unfold. Like the sisters fighting with each other. Like, there's a great scene. You brought up Kristen Stewart, where the mom goes through her journal and she
rings a bell.
She rings a bell.
Did you change the sound that your mail makes?
No, that's not. I got the new software, and I've got a text, so now I'm getting a text on my.
Oh.
God damn it! I'm sorry.
A text from Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell texts me a lot. She texts way too much. Tinkerbell's really. It's always just some late night, booty call or whatever. Yep. She's weird. She's into some weird stuff.
Bring some fairy dust.
Yeah, bring some fairy dust. I'm like, I need to sleep. I gotta go do podcasts. Here's the thing. So there's that scene, right, where Juliane Moore reads Kristen Stewart's journal.
Yes, and keep in mind, Kristen Stewart, not a teenager.
In her 20s.
In her 20s.
And reads personal stuff, and Kristen Stewart gets like, hey man, that's none of your business. And a couple, and Juliane Moore's like, I'm sorry, I got Alzheimer's. And Kristen Stewart's like, that's a bullshit excuse. The next day, when she sees her mom forgetting that it ever even happened, Kristen Stewart goes, oh, you know what? It's okay, Mom. And it's like, well, that's believable. A 23-year-old girl's going to be a little selfish. It's all about me. But then when she realizes the severity of what's happening with her mother, is then going to like, oh, that's okay. I'll
agree with you on that second scene.
Right.
The first scene, I was rolling my eyes. I'm
right.
Like, really? You're getting mad in your 20s that your Alzheimer-ridden mother read your journal? That really felt like, okay, if you were 16, I would get it, but now you're kind of an adult now. And, that I didn't buy that reaction, but I did buy the second one.
Right.
I bought her reconciling with her mother about it. I think it could have been maybe a different device than a journal.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that.
But the point is though, like seeing everybody not react perfectly, I'm like, that's a fine part of this.
Yes.
It's like in the movie 50-50, which I really liked about and everyone doesn't act perfectly when they find out that hashtag JGL's got cancer.
Right.
So I was fine with that, and I wanted to see that because this would not be easy on any family.
Right.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's, but she was in her 80s. And it was, it was sad and everything, but she died, she was 85, and it was the last couple years of her life, and that's the cycle of life. A 50-year-old woman that's at the height of her career, this is hard.
Yeah.
And so...
I mean, there's that great scene where she said, I wish I had cancer. People wear ribbons for you and all this stuff, and it's a slow deterioration. Like she said, she's losing her memories. It was far more devastating to her.
Yeah. I'd rather have cancer in my memories than this. And she goes, people, you're ashamed and you don't want to admit it when you
Yeah, that was the other thing, too, which is really interesting. Like, you don't realize that for the person suffering from Alzheimer's, they must feel that, ashamed of that disease because they can't remember and they're slowly deteriorating, whereas... and that's really true, and something that I never thought of before, but like you tend to have more empathy for someone with cancer than someone with Alzheimer's, which is, it was interesting to see that pointed out in the film. And that was one of those moments that I think the film really needed more of.
I couldn't agree more. Like Kate Bosworth, who's the oldest sister, and she's the focused career girl who looks down on Kristen Stewart, and they keep fighting, which was a good dynamic, I thought.
And that I believed.
That totally believed that those two sisters would fight like that.
Yeah.
But Kate Bosworth would come in, and she wanted to coddle her mom. And, other people in the family didn't agree with her.
Right.
I thought that was really...
Yeah.
And again, I agreed, I wanted a little more of that. There's a scene where she's like, no, Mom, this is... And she's almost talking down to her, and Julianne Moore's... The one scene's like, no, I know who this is.
Yeah.
And then later in the movie, she doesn't. But it's like, that's what Julianne Moore was talking about in that scene of I wish I had cancer, of saying, people are, treating me like I'm a moron. And talking down to me and like, no, this is called a pen. And she's like, God damn it. Like, I know I'm losing my memory, but Jesus.
Yeah.
And how frustrating it is. All those moments with the supporting cast, they were all, like you said, they were good. They were competent. They were okay. And I just wanted more. Is the Alec Baldwin character was like this fucking two-dimensional. It's like when you.
And I felt like he walked through it too.
Oh, fuck.
He really did. It was like doing The Shadow. It really was. That's what it felt like.
I don't know that I would put it on him. I would put it on the script and the directors a little bit.
Oh, definitely. No. It was. He had very little to work with. But what little he had to work with, he didn't seem to care about.
Yeah, I wanted to see. He's trying to be one of these society people keeping the stiff upper lip, which is great. But then let's see him. There was like one or two scenes where he kind of loses it.
Let's see him struggle with it a little bit.
Let's see him struggle.
Yeah.
And going to the Mayo Clinic was like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah. The movie had a couple of those little cop-outy things like Future Video, when it was like, well, if you can't remember anything, now there's a bottle of pills, go take them and kill yourself.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a scene in the movie where she records this video. She's first diagnosed, and she records a video for her future self saying, look,
how to prevent Skynet from taking over.
Right, exactly. So she gets a subscription for a bunch of Rohypnol and tells her future self, take this whole bottle.
Right.
Which I thought, the samurai in me was like, well, that's an honorable death as opposed to putting a burden on your family. Because I was sitting there going, if I was diagnosed with this, I don't want to be a burden in my family. There's that scene where she goes into and she obviously lies about it. She goes into a place that deals with seniors with Alzheimer's. And the nurse is like, no, how far along is your parent? And she's like, oh, not there. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly for her. And she sees these senior citizens with
how she's going to end up.
And she decides, I don't want to end up that way.
Right.
And I don't want to be a burden on my family. And so I'm going to make this video to tell my future self, this is how you kill yourself. So I like that plan. And that's something I'm going to do for myself if this were to happen for me. What did you think?
You've already made the video.
I've made the video. When you find the butterfly video on my laptop, that's what it is. So
Graham shot last.
Graham shot damn right. So what did you think about that?
I didn't buy it. And whenever I see like any type of suicide plan or suicide in a movie, I know it's a cheap plot device. I don't, it just didn't resonate with me. Now, in the context of the film, could it have been a little bit believable? Yeah, it definitely could have. But it's just one of those things where I really felt like, because we go to the overall structure of this film, of the only direction to go is to watch Juliette Moore slowly decline. How do you add some dramatic tension? Oh, I know. We'll add like a possible suicide scene. And it felt like just ways to ratchet up dramatic tension because they didn't know what else to do with the film and the direction of the film and ultimately of the story, because, you know, and I'm not saying this is easy at all, because you're painted yourself into a corner with this type of structure of a film and story. So I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it. What I did like was that she had to watch the video over and over because her Alzheimer's was so advanced that she couldn't remember simple directions.
Right.
And then, you know, it's always that, like, happy accident. Oh, someone's at the door. I dropped all the pills. Now I'm going to forget about, you know, that kind of, it didn't, I don't know. I didn't buy it as much.
Here, I bought that video would be made. I didn't view it as a contrivance. I viewed it as this career woman would absolutely plan this out.
Right.
You know what I mean? This motivated, advanced degree career woman would say, okay, here's how we're going to attack this, and give herself a sense of control in a situation she has no control over.
Right.
Because that's what this is all about, is how is everybody dealing with this thing they have so little control over, and how helpless and scared and angry and frustrated it makes everybody feel. That was believable. When she did it, I went, oh, is that the end of the movie? So do I know what the end of the movie is going to be? So when she's in that scene, and I agree, like, I thought that was very interesting. She watches the video, then walks upstairs to the dresser where the pills are, and then forgets. And then you see her finally take the video thing up there.
Right.
The thing I didn't like was the doorbell ringing and she dropping the pills on the floor.
Exactly.
I was like, come on, just fucking if you're going to introduce that thing, have her kill herself, or
have someone stop her for real.
Exactly. Like, Alec Baldwin finds this video.
And the foreshadowing was so stupid. Like, you're leaving her alone in the house? You know, one of the characters saying.
Yeah, I know.
What could possibly happen?
I know. Like, no one's going to leave her alone in the house at that point.
Yeah. And then at one time, someone leaves her alone, she finds the video.
Oh, but then someone knocks on the door.
Yeah.
So that was like, you know, it could have been, again, I think it could have been an opportunity.
Just handled a little better.
Yeah. You know, like, it could have been a great scene for Alec Baldwin to just stumble across the video.
Or the pillbox.
Yeah. And find the video and all this and discover it and then go, okay, that's it. I'm home.
Right.
No fucking way.
Or something with his character, like he would leave it for her. Like something like...
give her the dignity to do this.
Or something like, something a little more interesting. Like, you know, if he went to the Mayo Clinic, he's checked out anyway. So you wonder, like, would he consider this like a mercy? Or, you know, there's something... there's some interesting things to explore.
Sure.
That we didn't get to explore because she dropped the bottle.
She dropped the bottle. And then Kristen Stewart...
Now, I'll give her credit. I really thought she was going to fuck up the movie, and she didn't. You know, she did a very, again, like everyone else, a competent job. She didn't shine in the movie, but neither did anyone else except Julianne Moore. And but you know, you didn't. Let me put it this way: she didn't stick out.
She did a decent job. Here's the thing that struck me, because I was literally thinking of all your critiques of her and all the Twilight movies as I was watching. I was like, I know Chris is going to jump all over this, and I liked what she did in the film. I thought she was a little more than I thought she did a pretty good job. Here's what I'd like to...
It was a real stretch to see her play a character that was brooding.
Well, that's the thing. That's the point. And that's where I started laughing, because I was like, you know what I want to see Kristen Stewart do? I want to see her play someone...
Smile?
Bubbly. Her hair's all tightened up, and
right.
she's always in the disheveled hair and the T-shirt, and I can't get my life figured out. She's always that girl. I want to see her, like...
In Election.
Giggle. Yeah, exactly. Tight hair, nice outfit, bubbly, life of the party. Like, I want to see that fucking Kristen Stewart, and I want to see her now.
Right.
Because I'm done with the thing.
Broody vampire
lady got bitten by a wolf baby, or whatever the fucking thing is. So I wanted to see that, but the couple scenes I wanted to point out. The scene where she gives the speech to the Alzheimer's group.
Yes.
And she's really struggling with that.
And it was a good scene, too, because it was also very honest. She said this is horrible.
Yeah, this is horrible. And she's, that scene where she's FaceTiming with Kristen Stewart, who's still in California at this point in the film, in the end of the movie, she moves out to live with her mom, which I
take over for her father.
Take over for father, who splits.
Yeah.
So she's Skyping with Kristen Stewart and reading the speech. And Kristen Stewart's like, well, Mom, I think you should make it more heartfelt. It just felt like by the numbers. And then Juliane Moore goes, she gets mad and just hangs up on her daughter. And I was like, wow. And someone in the theater went, and I was like, wow, that must be what this frustrating thing is of losing your memory and everybody questioning you. And then you're so mad that you hang up on a Skype call on your daughter, and how much that must hurt your daughter, and how Kristen Stewart's character actually stopped being a selfish, 20-something and
stepped up
and had compassion and empathy for her mother, what she was going through. That whole scene and how she's like, I highlight each scene, each line in the speech so I don't, otherwise I'll read the same line over and over and over again. And Kristen Stewart's like, just print up another one. And she's like, do you know how difficult that is? Like, you're not getting how difficult it is. And then when she goes in there and reads the speech, like, I was in tears when she was doing that speech. And, she drops the papers on the ground and goes, God, I hope I forget that. Which was like, wow, that was amazing. And, I'm losing who I am, and the doctor's in the audience. But Alec Baldwin wasn't. He couldn't, like, what the fuck? Like, either establish in the beginning of the movie that he's a dick.
Right.
Or change it. Because you establish that he's a good husband.
Right. And he's compassionate.
Loves his wife, and cares about their family, and how, maybe cares too much for his daughter. Like, he spoils his daughter. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's that thing, which is believable.
If he didn't care, he wouldn't have paid for the theater company.
Right. And that's that was a great little husband-wife, like, honey, well, why did you didn't tell me?
I did. I told you.
Yeah, I did, which was sort of the first sign of the,
her forgetting a word at a speech or whatever. Mm-hmm.
But, so I love that part of it. And again, though, that's all Juliane Moore.
Yes.
And I will give the director credit, did some cool things. I like the little scenes where it gets blurry, or you know what I mean? Like as the movie progresses, someone's talking and it's just either Juliane Moore is out of focus or the people talking are out of focus as her world becomes more and more sort of hazy in a fog and doesn't know people. And that I really liked. Before we talk more about it.
Yeah, we have a sponsor for the Spoiler app. Now, Sherry's Berries, who we love. I mean, they always, right before the campaign, they always send us the box of strawberries. And like I always say, like, the kids recognize the box now, so they rarely make it to day 2 or day 3. The whole box goes very quickly. And now this is actually a special promotion because Valentine's Day is this weekend. So, do Sherry's Berries. You have to. You have to do Sherry's Berries.
Especially don't just take a job in Minnesota and bail on your wife who's got a really tough illness. Maybe buy her some berries.
Yeah, buy her some berries and then maybe stick around.
Yeah, don't be a horrible husband.
Exactly. So don't be a deadbeat husband and buy your wife some berries. And here's the thing. They start at $19.99, but if you go to berries.com, that's BERRIES, and click on the microphone and type in our code CFN, you can double the berries for just $10 more.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's also a special it's a special Valentine's Day deal. Now, this actually only goes to I think tonight, where this is like Wednesday night. This is a really special promotion because if you don't order by tonight,
Wednesday night, February 11th.
Yeah, they may not get there by Valentine's Day. So you got to step on it. #BerryWorkIt.
#BerryWorkIt. So February 11th is the deadline for these to show up for Valentine's Day.
And they're dipped in white milk and dark chocolatey goodness. And this is my favorite copy point. Giant, romantic, fresh, and juicy.
That should be how you greet your significant other
spouse.
Yes. Honey, I'm dipped in chocolatey goodness.
I'm giant, romantic, fresh, and juicy.
My favorite ones are the ones that have nuts on them.
Yeah, they're really good.
The chocolate chip ones are good.
Yeah.
Mine are the nuts.
I like the white chocolate ones too. Yeah, I do. The white chocolatey goodness. Let's see.
So, berries.com.
I want to make sure there's no other coffee points we're missing because we want to let you guys know because they honestly, they're really good. I mean, that's the one smart thing when a sponsor sends something to you. Like, we can tell you for real they're really good. But awesome. Here's the thing. This is important, too. They wanted to make sure you guys know that if you order these and there's a problem, make sure you tell them because they want you to be 100% satisfied. Like, if the berries come in and there's one missing, you know, your UPS guy is screwing you over. But make sure
your UPS guy has chocolatey strawberryness all around his face. Then maybe you need to talk to that guy.
So they want you to be 100% satisfied. So there's no risk. I mean, come on. Don't be a deadbeat husband.
Don't be like Alec Baldwin and Still Alice.
Yeah, just, be giant, romantic, fresh, and juicy.
Yeah, and don't move away when your spouse is, like, sick, And here's something that I started to do with these in the last box they sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Did
you bring them to your dojo?
I cut them in half with my katana. No, I put peanut butter on them.
Really?
Yeah, I dipped some of them in peanut butter.
And then you threw them at cars?
Yeah. Yes. I found my UPS driver who was gnawing on one of them, and I was like, take that, sucker.
Which one did you put peanut butter on?
The one that's got the chocolate chips on it.
Oh, nice.
It's really good, dude.
Wow.
It's like an amazing, like,
Is it giant, romantic, fresh, and juicy?
It's all of those things, Chris. So that's how you can enhance your berries. And if you guys buy these using our coupon code CFN, of course, and you add something nice to them, let us know because I want to know other ways to eat these things.
Absolutely. You know what? Twitter it. Take a photo, and if you throw one at somebody's car, we want to see a photo of that. Yeah. So yes, any other toppings that you want to put on your cherry berries? Yes. We'd like to see a picture of that. Yeah, as long as it's not insane. It's not weird and don't break any laws. Yeah, seriously. Peanut butter's fine, like in that genre. Yeah, peanut butter's not against the law. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, what is this, the Soviet Union? So berries.com, coupon code CFN. All right, so let's talk about this now, back to Still Alice. Yes. The very ending of the movie. What did you think of the ending? I thought that, here's the thing about the ending. It was one of those things where, now let me explain what happened first so we can kind of see. Now, Juliane Moore's character is very, very degraded by this point. Her memory is gone. And it's very sad because also, and this is, she does such an amazing performance. Some of her responses are grunts. Like she can barely hold a thought in her head. Yeah. And, Kristen Stewart basically is reading her a monologue, right? Pretty much, and she asks her what it's about, and she says, "Love. It's about love." So she can still understand, what she is hearing. She just can't remember everything. And I thought it was actually a really nice way to end the film. I kind of really liked it. The thing about it is when you look at ways you could end this film, there's many different ways to end it incorrectly. You could just have it stop, like, all right, well, too bad. You could see her death. You could see, like you were saying, you could see her actually kill herself. Right. And, but you kind of ended, and this is what I did really like. The film ended on that little, shred of hope. That love is still what keeps the family together through thick and thin. Although it was also ironic because the fucking husband's not there. So you have this real heartfelt upbeat moment at this very sad time, but also it's also ironic because there's the troubled daughter is really the only one left for with the mother. Yeah, I actually was really glad that's how they ended it, and I was like, well, I'm glad they're doing this over the seppuku with pills. You know what I mean? Like because leading up to that, Pilliku, yes, Pill Shaku, yeah. So
because there was another great scene leading up to this ending where...
Sorry, I have one more. Harry Pilly?
Or is it Pilly Carey?
Yeah.
I forget. Either way, Chris, konnichiwa. Yeah. I think that there's a great scene where they're walking into Alec Baldwin gets a call in the middle of the night. He's like, okay, honey, put the pants on. And she's like...
Yeah, he dresses her, basically.
He dresses her. They get into the hospital, and she's like, who is that? I go, that's your daughter. And she goes, wow, she looks awful. Well, she just had 2 babies. And she walks in the room, clearly doesn't quite recognize everybody. Everyone's like, and then she holds her granddaughter and has that moment of like recognition.
And you see the daughter's not even sure if she wants the mother.
Yeah. Well, they're like,
yeah.
Can I hold it? And everyone's like,
I don't know.
Is she going to forget?
Yeah. How to hold a baby. She's like, I know how to hold a baby.
I know how to hold a baby. All right. Well, why don't you sit down first?
Right.
Which they're coddling her, but they kind of have to. Like it's and again, it's a great scene of how the family is having to deal with this situation.
Right.
Like, all these things you never think about. So she has this moment where she's holding her grandchild, and it's this beautiful moment. And then pretty shortly thereafter, I think, is the scene with Kristen Stewart where she says it's all about love. And I thought that was a great way to bring it all together, although the dad should have been there. Maybe just you and I as men were so offended that this is like... to me, it was like... Sticking with the ending, it is a wonderful ending, and you get to see actually a nice arc with Kristen Stewart's character.
Yeah, you definitely do.
She leaves her acting career in L.A. She goes, well, I'm going to be in New York, and I'm on audition, I'm going to do plays, and I'm going to be with my mom.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, having known some people who...
The other thing is, too, they've got a caregiver, too. It's not like, the daughter is the primary caregiver. There's still rich Manhattanites who can afford in-home care. Yeah,
exactly. So they're not struggling with that.
Right. So Kristen Stewart is more of a companion, which is great. Well, that's still very extremely important. The other thing, too, now that you bring it up, it made me think about it more. There was talk of like Alec Baldwin, well, I'll just bring her with me and get her good care. And she didn't want to leave. But here's the thing. I think he didn't really press the point. All right, well, she doesn't want to leave.
And my wife with Alzheimer's doesn't want to.
Yeah. So it was an interesting point there. We're like, well, could that have been expanded on a little bit more? Like to show if you're going to show him suddenly become a little more insensitive. I mean, there's another great point. Like, like she has Alzheimer's. You could move her and get her care where you're going, but you're leaving her here with your daughter intentionally.
Yeah, exactly. And again, there's just that one scene between Kristen Stewart and him where he goes, "You're a better man than I."
Yeah. So
and it's like, shouldn't she smack her dad in the fucking mouth and go?
He may as well have just said, "Well, good luck." Yeah,
it's on your kids. Have fun, kids. And she doesn't hate her dad for it. Like, well, let's expound on that then. Like, if he's gonna be the dick, then let's get in.
See the dick.
Let's see it. Let's everybody call him on his shit. Let's have him break down and tell me why he's such a why he's so terrified of being there and watching this happen. Like, let's get into that scene. Let's have some compassion for him. Or just make him a complete asshole. Like, whatever it is, do more than this just sort of, oh, by the way, this guy that we introduced as a nice guy isn't.
He's leaving.
Oh, okay. So the dad and the husband is just splitting. Okay,
because he got a new job in his 60s.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's reasonable. Like, everyone just kind of, oh, okay, Dad, well...
it's a great opportunity.
It's just like, oh, well, by the way, your youngest daughter married a wolf.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, well, we'll have them all move in. Maybe
I can work here for 8 months before I retire.
Yeah. That needed more. But I want to make this clear, though. I still think this is a movie worth watching.
Yes, I agree.
For Julianne Moore's performance, it is totally Oscar worthy. We're being very hypercritical of the Alec Baldwin stuff, but it's a good movie to see. And I would definitely try to watch this before the Oscars if you can.
Yes,
because to see all the other performances, and it does bring up a good point that we brought up a couple episodes ago when we were talking about movies that have been excluded, and we talked a lot with Doug Benson about why Selma got excluded and, what Spike Lee said. And Doug brought up a good point, which is there's a lot of really good actors in really good movies that aren't getting any recognition at all. And I go back to The Fault in Our Stars. If you have not seen that movie, that all the things, all of the competent or the it's good, but it could have been great scenes with the supporting characters, they were all handled really well in The Fault in Our Stars. I would watch that movie. I would watch that movie for sure to see how it should be handled. And Shailene Woodley should have gotten some nominations this award season. And I don't know, I'm sure that was a marketing thing or a studio decision or whatever, but
came out earlier in the year.
There's
always all these factors. How much, was put into an Oscar campaign? Was it zero?
Zero. Looks like very little. It wasn't even like they re-released it in November, December.
Did they send out screeners? Yeah. All that stuff.
Maybe they didn't. But watch this movie, Still Alice, and then if you haven't seen The Fault in Our Stars, watch that. That's what I would recommend. So, I don't know. Anything else?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
And guys, love to hear what you have to say on all this. And going back to the American Sniper spoiler rep, we have talked about this. The Marine who killed Chris Kyle his trial is starting this week. And
another person too.
Yeah, he shot two people. That is almost assuredly probably why they didn't talk about that at the end of the film, because of the legal stuff surrounding it. But so more emails about the Imitation Game. We got some great emails about Alan Turing and his whole history.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we really like that. We really appreciate that.
Here's the other thing too, is I want to let you guys know our message boards are finally fixed, so you can join into the conversation. If you see the message boards, there's a little drop-down menu that says register. Mm-hmm. You can now register and join the discussion, because one of the posts was, it's getting a little thin around here. It's like, because no one could register. Yeah, no one could actually post anything. In fact, somebody wanted to post so badly, they emailed, and I actually manually added them to the system.
Great.
But right now, it's great. You can go. There's a lot of great discussions on there right now. There's everything from an asylum review to short film recommendations, and there's a lot of stuff to check out on the message boards.
Let's have some discussions about this, what you guys think is Still Alice, and if any of you have ever had to deal with Alzheimer's, and whether this movie rang true for you or didn't.
Yep. It's more prevalent than than you think. It's a lot. Yeah. I've had a grandmother who had it too.
We've all had to deal with it at some point. Love doing this, you guys. I'm so glad we've been able to do. We want to thank Sherry's Berries for.
Yes.
That's one of the reasons we're doing more spoiler apps, because they need more episodes. So go to sherrysberries.com, use coupon code CFN. It's a great gift for people for Valentine's Day or for any reason. And you're also, when you use our coupon code, you're helping support the show.
Yes. And remember, you got to do it tonight before Wednesday night at midnight to make sure you get
Wednesday,
them for
February 11th.
Yes, Wednesday, February 11th to get delivery by Valentine's Day.
And hope to see you guys Valentine's night at the Hollywood Improv. I'll be headlining there with an awesome lineup of comics, and we'll also be headlining the Improv at Harrah's Hotel and Casino in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Chris?
I will be in Lake Tahoe at the Improv at Harvey's Casino tonight, February 11th through the 15th.
Right on. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we love your comments and feedback. Spoiler Ep 27, Still Alice. Put it in the books. My name is Graham Elwood.
And I'm Chris Mancini. And as always, remember,
Han shot first.
He'll work it.